Now, if you keep looking to the left-hand side, we're going to pass by Downing Street. Number 10 Downing Street is on the right-hand side of the Downing Street. If John Major is here, we'll see a Jaguar out in front. All of our prime ministers live at number 10 Downing Street, and again, for about 200 years, they've always been there. So Margaret Thatcher's old house, Sir Winston Churchill's old house, John Major's old house, I'm sure very soon. See, we've just had local elections, and the Conservative government have lost about 400 seats. It's on Hyde Park.
Just say hello.
Well, you have to wave to say hello to this one.
Hello.
There, we got a little bit of a smile there. The horses appear at about 10 o'clock in the morning, so in about another 35 minutes they will arrive. And they leave at 4 o'clock. Now the horses will be on duty for changing of the guard night, and then everybody gets a kiss. Or 2, or 3, or 4. And something's wrong if you don't get one kiss. There's, I don't know, change of toothpaste or something like that. But it's named after the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805. And again, this was when we were fighting with the French. Admiral Nelson had fought the naval battle with Napoleon. And he won, but he died there. So that's why they commemorate him at Trafalgar Square. As we come around the corner, there's a big building here in front of us to the left. This is the National Gallery of Art, and it's free. So if somebody wants to give up shopping time, you can come in here for culture instead. Now if you look straight ahead, just on the right-hand side, just past this horse statue, this is South Africa House. You can see the new flag of South Africa flying from it. That Nelson Mandela would like to sell this building. Government of the city of Westminster, so the local council. And I think the local council will be quite happy to buy it from him and then sell it for an even higher price for the next 35 or 37 years to, I don't know, they reckon something that will be good for tourists. Interesting. We'll have to... It's one of the mainline terminals in London. We've got 13 main train terminals in official picket. They're on strike. On strike at BBC. Where these people are having their breakfast, this is the BBC radio broadcasting. Very interesting. Which means that we're not getting much news on the television right now. Of course, this is their central church. And at the back end of the exchange at Lloyd's of London Insurance. Now, the reason that it's so popular for money today is because of the geo here, and that's the Mirror newspaper. They are the people who published the photo of Diana doing her exit. Diana took them to the Royal Courts of Justice, and Queen Anne, I always think that she, and that's not why she was unhappy. None of her children lived past the age of 12 years old. None of them. They all died when they were either babies, or the oldest was 12, Diana. And the reason it's famous is because it was the very first dome. But they didn't explode. They went straight through. Ooh. Not so fortunate for a little church around the corner here. As we turn to the right, you look on the left and you can see the ruin of one of the churches, which was bombed in World War II. Oh, yeah. But instead of just taking it down completely, they made a little garden of it. You can see obviously it was the King's baker who started the fire of London. We think what happened is he didn't puddings through the church, and on who has sold a beef eater. So we'll see the beef eaters inside the tower. They say for not giving him a son, for cheating on the husband, finding a toy boy. So hotel, a little condominium there for them.
I see.
And they have their wing, a tiny little crown of Queen Victoria. It only weighs 120 grams because she said the big one gave her a headache. I would love this headache for 1 hour. After this, in the same case, you'll see.
Saya bilangin.
Foto. Foto nggak?
Boleh dong. Di dalam ya nggak boleh, di luar boleh.
Tapi di dalam nggak boleh.
Sana, sana, dekat sebelahnya sih ya.
Bloody tower.
It's only 20 years old. We've had a London Bridge past 2,000 years. It's very lots of trees and the flowers that grow wild, but there are no formal flower beds. And when they're plague victims, they don't like to dig around because they can still disturb. We're going to see 2 silver dragons with a red cross, a red shield. That's it. We have now left the city of London. Oh. Actually, it's get a really good view from here. And to the right-hand side, the Houses of Parliament and Big Ben. You can see where the clock tower is. That's Big Ben. Or in fact, the bell is Big Ben inside. And we can see the flag flying over Parliament. So we know that John Major's at work. What we're going to do is stop next to, in fact, where Waterloo Station is here. This is where the Channel Tunnel link will come to. So in the future, it will take 3 hours to go from Paris to London. But we still.
Stasiun Waterloo. Sungainya namanya Sungai Thames. Ya, ada ferry.
3 of the 11 state apartments, and to repair them will cost £50 million. The rest of the state apartments burned, so it was just next door to where the Queen was staying inside the palace. So hopefully over the next few years they'll be able to repair it, and hopefully it won't cost much more than £50 million to fix. To do is from the public for being our queen, such a good queen. Unfortunately, she died 1 year before the present was finished, so she never got to see it. Now the middle gate is used only for royal. Oh, he's on St. Martin's Lane. How did we do that? How did we get behind Thailand? we were doing so well there. This is the London Marathon. Okay, this is the Admiralty Arch that we're going through now. And you can see all of the flags along the Mall. I know, actually, they should be starting to take some of them down, or maybe they're putting more up. The Queen's official birthday is next month. Then we have the trooping of the colour. Oh, a nice white car up here. Nice Rolls Royce, a Daimler. Rolls, thank you, thank you. Very nice. Well, I wouldn't say no to it.
Queen's roll at the other right.
the left-hand side is St. James's Park. It's one of the royal parks in London, and there are 4 in the central London. So St. James's Park. And many of the buildings here to the right-hand side are gentlemen's clubs, where women are not allowed. Not yet. James's Palace, and next door to that, still to the right, you're going to see a white house, and that's Clarence House, where the Queen Mother lives.
Bagaimana nggak mau kaya dia, turisnya aja kayak begini.
And this is just literally everybody here for the changing of the guard. So the guards have just gone into the palace.
Sayang dia masuk ke dalam. Kita lihatnya nanti sini dia balik lagi.
Okay, I'm taking us around to get off the coach right now, and where I think we'll be able to get a good place to stand is just here on the right-hand side, just next to the policeman. Because what will happen is the guards will come out of Buckingham Palace and pass.
Kemudian di istana Buckingham.
Tunggu
Masa pakai siapa?
Itu yang naik itu siapa ya?
Wow, weird.
Dekat situ mendingan ada istananya.
Sampingnya ada satu macam garis. Orang ini patuh betul sama akhirnya raja itu. Ya.
Dia boleh bilang Marianta enak digulitin.
Dia pun kebuningan dia. Iya. Berdiri tadi dia di sini. Changing of the guard.
Iya, berapa jam sekali? Biasa kali dia musiknya gini juga ya.
Kemana ini arahnya ya? Di stop tuh mobil lihat. Hanya untuk dia mobil stop.
Keluar.
Hujan nggak jadi kan di luar. Kalau tadi guide bilang kalau hujan nggak jadi.
Tunggu lah, habisin dulu. Daerah kerjaan kali itu orang punya mobil begitu.
Promosi dong. Belakangnya mungkin.
Biasanya tuh apa sih yang
Sport ya. Sport. Bis-bis itu saja. Kelihatannya pariwisatanya lebih maju di sini daripada Paris ya. Iya.
Till she herself died 40 years later, 40. So in 1901, that's when the Queen died. She always wore black after that. She very rarely went into public. And they said that once he died, she just named everything after her husband. Once she died, we named everything after her. So we've got Albert, not the Albert Hall, not the Albert Hall, the Westminster politicians. But one of the politicians who is not here, Sir Winston Churchill. His funeral wasn't here. That was at St. Paul's Cathedral.
Westminster
As we come around Parliament Square, we'll see a statue of Sir Winston Churchill. He's just at the...
And where is the Cambridge University?
Cambridge University is in Cambridge. If you were to leave London, go straight north and east, drive for about and slightly west, you get to Oxford. The same amount of time, 1.5 to 2 hours.
Palanya botak.
During World War II, he had his most secret headquarters underground. The entrance to the War Cabinet rooms today is just here to the left-hand side, which is just next to Downing Street. There was the entrance from number 10. So everything, the Horse Guards. Besides having to learn how to fight, because that's obviously part of the job, they've also, many of the Horse Guards have had to go to 1 year in the Royal Academy of Music to learn also a little bit of how to play instruments.
Yangnya dikasih lihat malah di luar.
I saw a policeman up here.
So did I, but I wasn't sure whether he was doing something or stuck in traffic or what. I think
Soho is our red light district. It wouldn't be the same without it. This is the Piccadilly Circus.
Lihat nggak yang warna?
Di atas.
Yeah.
Warna.
Nih,
Oh iya.
warna di sana ada lagi.
Rock Island dinner.
Jadi 15 menit.
Asked her to come to the Palace of Versailles to teach his children art. Shortly after this was the French Revolution. Her employers lost their heads. Now, Madame Tussauds' tour became so famous that she had a permanent exhibition, permanent museum, just near where the one is today. In about 1925, there was a fire, and it destroyed.
Ini Elizabeth Taylor ya.
Nah, pacarnya Pak Alex waktu masih muda nih.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Nah, you berdiri sini. Pelan, satu sini pelan sekali. Lagi. Ini lah, ada break saya.
Terkenal aja.
Saya di sini.
Tempat Madame Tussauds ini jalan.
Ada saya dong.
Kamu ini siapanya? Cewek ini siapanya?
3 nih. Baker.
Dennis,
Ya.
Boris Becker.
Mana Boris Becker? Sampai sini pas ya.
You're just ahead. Why can't I wear a pink suit? Because you're just ahead. I thought we were neck and neck.
Matanya bisa itu gitu ya.
Oh, ha ha, very funny. Go back to sleep.
Matanya.
Why can't I wear a pink suit? Because you're just ahead. I thought we were neck and neck.
Sleeping Beauty.
Ada Dubari nih.
Contact the Lords. Jadi banyak amat ah.
Ini memang center aja sekalian.
Ada yang terkenal nggak? Ya, itu tangan siapa baru putus begitu?
Yang udah nggak kepake lagi. Muhammad Ali itu ya. Ini orang itu yang jagain.
Iya sudah.
Pakai teks bisa nggak ya? Dari samping kalau mau. Oh, mantul ya mah. Waktu dia kawin ini pestanya. Ini siapa?
Bonaparte.
Oh, nggak panjang ya?
Anjuk ke Wellington ya? An?
Oh iya, ini nih yang ngeliatin terus katanya.
Alfred Hitchcock nih, film sci-fi. Tentang film juga ini.
Как лучше, потому что
Michael Jackson tuh.
Itu siapa sih?
Michael
Kok
Jackson.
ditutup? Michael Caine kok ditutup?
Michael Jackson.
Louis 16.
Iya, pada internet akhirnya dihukum penggal dua-duanya.
Gotin.
Ada tulisannya nggak?
Tadi Miss Taylor kan? Emang Khrushchev, itu tuh Gorbachev. Ya? Gemuk. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton tuh Washington situ. George Bush ada tuh. Reagan. Ini siapa nih? Michael dulu survivor campur. Naik dikit deh. Terus kalian itu Dalai Lama. Terus
Beatrix dari Belanda.
Keluarga kerajaan tuh ada Lady Di itu diambil dari jauh.
Seru ya.
Dari jauh nih kerajaannya.
Ludwig van Beethoven. Beethoven yang pemain piano yang pintar. William Shakespeare kan terkenal be, ngarang lagu. Siapa ngarang? Ini siapa itu? Victor Hugo. Haris Christian Andersen.
Ini sastrawan semua.
Ini yang cewek siapa?
Agatha Christie.
Pengarang juga
Itu
sih.
pengarang Charles Dickens. Sir Walter Scott.
Beatles.
Yang lagunya Love Me Do.
Love me.
John Lennon yang mana?
And some spirit of electricity shall continue to pass through your body until you are dead. He's further ordered that on 16
Orang dihukum gantung.
Going back 400 years to the London of Queen Elizabeth I.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis Rover is mine,
The rats brought the horror of the Great Plague, and with it, death. The King of England's baker, who let the bread burn, has been blamed for the Great Fire of London.
blames me. I didn't do it. Look, Lord Mayor, please believe me. It wasn't me.
Her Majesty King Charles II, Sir Christopher Wren was given the task of rebuilding St Paul's. This time, London was built in stone. From the ruins of the fire, a new cathedral arose to fill the sky with glory. Nelson was kept separations. Queen Victoria ruled in London for 60 years, giving her name to the Victorian age. The spirit of London was immortalised by Charles Dickens. London, heart of the empire, stood firm against the assault of 2 world wars.
Swiggy zaman dulu.
This is nothing here, genuine face. Tell you what, do yourself a favour, girls. You're up for a take me on. These are the sights, the sounds, the colours, and the joy of the spirit of home.
Spent about 8 hours with this. So the holiday
Jam 5 udah sepi. Nggak terasa sejam udah sampai di Terminal 3.
belum sampai.
Nanti di kapal terbang. Itu tempat parkir mobil tuh di atas. Di sana di kapal terbang. Ini diambil dari tempat transit di Bangkok Airlines, ke Bangkok Airport. Papinya gendut bener tuh, udah mau Ini adalah di Airport Changi di mana kita sedang transit selama 3 jam. Minta dulu ger ya. Bufat.
Penjualan pesawat terus Prof.
Ada buahnya gitu.
Ada buahnya. Tapi dipertanggungjawabkan pada seperti ini Pak, kebun.
Pak Bambang udah jadi pejabat kembali?
Kenapa?
Karena putih?
Nah, itulah saya sedang mengaku. Iya.
Makanan yang diangkat.
Tuh, naik lagi pesawat.
Lagi kenapa nggak waktu di Kemayoran aja Pak? Kemayoran.